great to see you again. Welcome to the beautiful Oregon coast. It's a gorgeous day. I should be flying right now, but I want to spend some time talking about something that we've all faced at one time or another if we've been flying the drone longer than a minute in public. I'm talking about the Karens and the Carls, Mr. and Mrs. Nosy, right? You raise the drone, and here they come. What are you doing? Is that legal? Are you spying on me? And the media's no help. You know this, right? The media hype with the drone this and the drone that. Negative, negative, negative. And there you've got Karen and Carl watching the news. And then they get misled. And then they get nervous. And then they come out and they can potentially start a scene. So how do we avoid this? Today I want to talk about risk mitigation, risk management in business. Welcome to Drone Pilot MBA. I'm Tony. Glad to have you aboard. If you've never caught the program before, I'm glad you're here now. And if you're my friend, hey, how you doing? So listen, today we're going to talk about Karen and Carl Nosy, Mr. and Mrs. Nosy, and what we can do. 3 things we can do to mitigate the risk as much as possible, okay? And I've got some fun toys that I brought along with me today because I thought nothing's better than props, right? Props tell a great story. So today you're in for a treat as we learn how to deal with Karen and Carl Nosy and mitigate risk for our drone business. Welcome to Drone Pilot MBA. Okay, so we're dealing with the nosies today. Flying the drone, and here they come with the questions. Then it can escalate. We don't want this. Everything that we do must be about de-escalation. There's 3 things that I like to really focus on here, and that is be ready at all times. Expect it, right? Expect it. And if you're expecting it, you kind of already know how to handle things because you've already kind of role-played this in your head. But today, I brought some props that I want to show you that I like to use when I go out there with my team. Even if it's by myself, I always love to have that visual observer, and I bring one with me most of the time, particularly when I'm in tight situations or when the FAA requires it under certain conditions, particularly in those conditions where you need a waiver, right? Be above and beyond the Part 107. So here's some things I like to bring out there. First of all, being ready means expecting the encounter and knowing what to do about it, right? Ahead of time, playing this out as I mentioned. But here's the thing. You have a camera and they have a camera. So expect that everything that you're doing out there, flying the drone, expect that 2 or 3 or 4 or 10 more eyeballs are capturing the action. Expect that at some point, maybe someone's going to call PD. They're going to call law enforcement, right? Parks and Rec Department. Or they're going to reach out to the FAA, which really kind of can get to be a nuisance, right? You didn't do anything wrong, but then you got to go and you got to deal with the phone call, and we don't want this. Right? So let's prevent that ahead of time. Let's be smart. Let's just make our money. Let's get out there. And if we're not making money, we're doing it for recreation. That's great too. Let's get out there and capture our dream, our ideas, instead of worrying about the outcome of a bad situation, when we face the nosies, right? Even law enforcement officers are not up to speed when it comes to the legalities of flying a drone in national airspace. We'll talk a little bit about that a little bit later on. So let me talk about some of the props I like to use out there. First of all, when you get out there, this is number 2. You got to play the part, right? You've got to play the part, and you got to act the part. Playing the part and acting the part. What does that mean? You're wearing professional garb. I go out there, I'm always wearing ID. Around my neck, I've got the lanyard. Right? Here's the lanyard. Business cards on the backside. I'm a member of the press, so I carry my press pass. But then also, there's my Part 107 certificate, right? So I've got that on the lanyard. So this is what I'm starting off with. Now, if I'm going to be in a situation where I think you're out there and there's a lot of people, right? A lot of people in an area. Not that you're going to be flying over a lot of people, because you don't do that. But if they're in the area, they're probably paying attention. If there's kids in the area, mom and dad are looking at the kids in the drone. And because of all the creepy news that we hear about almost weekly and privacy concerns, we want to be careful. So we want to play the part. We want to make sure we've got our stuff. Now, I like to go out when things get really busy out there, where I think I'm going to be anywhere near the street, anywhere near traffic. Out comes the vest. Okay? So now I got the vest on, and it's pretty clear that I'm really starting to look pretty damn official, aren't I? See, that's the key. You're playing the part. You're acting like a professional. If you're out there in your flip-flops and your Bermuda shorts, not that that's a bad or good look, because I like my flip-flops and my shorts, but if I'm going to fly in a place that could get a lot of attention, that's probably not the best attire, because when they see this going on, they kind of already know what you're doing. And number two, they assume that it's something official, right? All right. Capiche? Now, next, sometimes you go somewhere where you really want to look official. Now, no laughing, but this stuff can make a difference. The helmet, right? And so when you're flying near construction sites, I hope you wear one of these, because they may require it, right? For your own safety and part of their OSHA rules and regulations, right? In your particular area. So there's the helmet. Then sometimes they want you to don your goggles. So you get I like to put everything back in its place when I'm all done. So I put everything right back in the bag. And then the goggles go on. So now you got the helmet, you got the goggles, you got the vest, right? And you go, okay, what else can I possibly? Well, you got a radio, right? Because you're communicating with others, your visual observer. Even if the visual observer is going to be 20 feet from you, you both have the radios. Looks official. Remember, we're acting the part. Also, the scanner, right? The scanner. So we're listening to the air traffic, right? So we know the frequency. Say we're flying in a Class D airspace, right? We know the frequency. Lock it in. Have it on. Let them hear the radio. Sounds official. They're less likely to bother you. On the vehicle, our vehicles are marked. This is a very inexpensive way to go. It's a magnet. You've seen these little, big, small door magnets, right? Put them anywhere on the car you want. We put these on our vehicle. Again, another layer. What about the cones? Get those cones around your vehicle. Maybe you cone up where you're going to be standing. If you're going to be stationary flying the drone for a while, you cone your area off. So you've got some protection there. Also, we like to set these up if it's really super busy and we're going to get people with a ton of questions. Okay? See? And then this stands up. It's a little A-frame. And it talks about what we're doing. So by the time the Karen gets over to you, or Carl, and they're wondering what you're doing, they're no longer wondering what you're doing. They might be asking you things like, oh, how long have you been flying? Oh, what are you filming? What is this for? But they're going to be less combatant by how official you look while you're out there. Your demeanor, how you're handling yourself. You're in control at all times. Now, I always make sure that my visual observer brings along a packet of these. Now, these are very important. And you hand these out for a couple of reasons. First, it lets them know what you're doing, lets them know you're not ignoring them. It tells them what you're doing, and it also helps market your business. if you're flying for profit, part 107, right? It's our brochure. Take a look at this. Isn't that beautiful? And this can immediately de-escalate, because instead of trying to talk to you, you're saying, hey, nice to meet you. Let me have you read this. It'll tell you about what we're doing here today. And if you have any questions, once the pilot lands, you can come on over and have a chit-chat, because he loves to visit with the public. Right? We have a positive mental attitude. We're not cranky. We shouldn't be flying for cranky anyway. If we're rushed and cranky, that's not a good way to fly a drone, or any aircraft for that matter. It's probably not it's a good reason to probably stay home in the first place, right? Make sure you're positive. Think good things about the people that are approaching you. Listen to them. Don't already have your answers and be ready to go fisticuffs with everybody. Now, in those scenarios where someone might become a little combative to the point where you feel endangered, they're literally grabbing at you. They're trying to take your gear. Well, what are you going to do? Now I'm not suggesting you do this, but it's something that I like to bring along. It's bear spray, Sabre bear spray. Literally. This stuff right here in this little canister, I got to be honest, I've never one time, only tested it quickly, all right, but never in a face. But I like to have this with me. Sometimes if they just kind of see it on your belt, they're going to stand fast. But be in the ready. If they come up and they start to hurt you or try to hurt someone else in the air, and you got to stop them, remember, we're de-escalating. We don't want to maim anybody. We don't want to go too far. And also one caveat, you spray this in somebody's eyes, you may see a day in court. They may come get you, maybe not criminally, but civilly, they may sue you. And then you got to go out and pay the hefty attorney fees. You might win the case, you might not, but you're still going to spend the money. Why do it if you don't have to? And that's why it's important to always be thinking about de-escalating. Pick your battles wisely. Even though you're prepared for all things possible, you go into it with a gracious heart, a friendly mind, and you're looking for those opportunities to share what you do. Because they're going to watch that aircraft up in the air, aren't they? They're going to watch how you handle it. So you do a hand landing when the drone comes in. Isn't that a beautiful thing? They get amazed. And if there's kids around, mom and dad are likely to come up and say hello. Now you made a new friend. And now we can take what the media has spun negatively, and in some cases righteously, because there are those, as Greg puts over at Pilot Institute, that guy. There's always that guy or that girl out there in every field. But we're going to be the other guy. Okay? We're going to be the guy that's going to be the teacher. We're going to be friendly, and we're going to share our craft, share our art, and we're going to help get their thinking more in line with the reality of flying drones legally and safely. So I hope that these props have helped you out a little bit today. I hope you come back and see me again. I hope if you have any questions, comments, or ideas that I missed, or maybe you're thinking this is way over the top, I'd love to hear your input. I do have an ego just like you, but it's super friendly because I want to learn. Look, I'm past 60 years old now, and I'm still like a sponge. I learn from the kids. I learn from animals, right? Don't we learn from nature? We learn if we leave our mind open. We don't know all the answers. We don't know all things drone. Heck, they're changing the rules every time we turn around, feels like, right? Nimble and dynamic. We want to be the exception. What the world needs right now is good leadership. And good leadership means good examples, all right? Doesn't always mean racing over to Sergeant Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band and squirting them in the face. All right? I love you very much. I hope you have a great rest of your week. If you get a chance, visit the Oregon coast, I'd love to see you out here. All right, from Depot Bay, I'm Tony Marino. And don't forget to hit that like button. Don't forget to leave your comment. And don't forget to keep on coasting. Thanks for joining me. If you have any questions, let us know. If you have any comments, leave them below. If you'd like to hire us, you can get more information by visiting aerialnorthwest.com. Be smart, safe, and fly responsibly.